Hunter Biden, another laptop from hell. I think we're up to 3 of these things now. The first thing that you might be asking yourself is, where has Hunter Biden been? We've talked about him here on this channel. He's an artist now. He's painting pictures of fungus and milk and I think AIDS and coronavirus and all sorts of different awful things. But he's also in the news again, but you probably missed it. Why? Because if you look for Hunter Biden anywhere in the media, this is what you get. On New York Times, if you do a search for Hunter Biden, you notice that I did this morning here, 6:45 a.m. Eastern time. I was up early this morning, but I did a search on the New York Times. The first thing that you see here, July 8th, White House sets ethics plan for the sale of his fungus art from Hunter Biden. Then the next article is not over even until April 3rd, and the next one down on March 30th. And so if you're looking for hints about what's going on with Hunter Biden, you know, he is the president's son, and he's what the president called the smartest man that he knows. And so presumably Joe Biden might be, conversing with the smartest man in the world to solve many of America's problems. So we don't know what's going on there, but we have questions about Hunter. So we went over to the Washington Post. What do they have for us? Oh, not much either. The last post that they've got, July 16th, we have art is object plus a story, even for Hunter Biden's pricey money laundering paintings. Over here on July 13th, another one, a sneak preview. Oh, so exciting. We have on Hunter's art. Let's look at the bigger picture. Yeah, this was an opinion on July 13th. He's getting his art career all wrong July 9th. So a lot of these weirdos are just really obsessed about Hunter Biden's paintings, even though they're objectively terrible. So that's what the Washington Post is talking about. But how about CNN, right? They're not fake news, certainly. So they would have something. Oh, no. Biden, though, is going to accept an award on behalf of his son, Beau. That was on July 30th. Over here, July 25th, the threat November poses to Biden. Nothing here about Hunter. Over here, on July 22nd, Hunter Biden's going to meet with potential art buyers. So that's good. So again, nothing. Washington Post, New York Times, CNN, nothing about Hunter Biden, even though there's a pretty big story out there right now that the foreign media has to cover because our own media here is useless. They don't want you to know about this story. So it's up to the Daily Mail, a UK website, that's going to give us the information. And here is a headline. It says, this is an exclusive. Hunter Biden says the Russians have videos of me doing crazy effing sex. Hunter Biden is seen in unearthed footage telling a prostitute that Russian drug dealers stole another of his laptops. They said that this happened in a Vegas hotel room in 2018. Video shows Hunter with a naked hooker in 2019 when Joe Biden was running for president after filming a sex tape with her, explaining how he believed another laptop was stolen. He left the camera rolling as he recounted a Las Vegas bender in which he spent 18 days going around from penthouse suite to penthouse suite. The incident would mean Hunter lost a total of 3 computers. 3 computers, each likely to hold sensitive information on President Joe Biden. The laptops contain embarrassing pictures, videos, and communication of the president's son. Just the smartest man that Joe Biden, very smart, very intelligent, absolutely just a dirtbag of a human being. And he's in the White House there with Papa Joe. Now, the reason this is a problem, we've heard about all of the Russian stuff, right? And we talked a lot about this in the lead up to the election, asking ourselves, okay, people were saying this was a Russian conspiracy. And you go, well, how is it a conspiracy if it's true? If Hunter Biden is really doing all of these things, that's not a conspiracy at all. The fact that the Russians have it is a problem, but that doesn't rid the underlying act. It's still there. If the Russians know about it, that doesn't negate the fact that Hunter did all of these things and that they've got some pretty serious, pretty damaging compromat. This is what the Russians call it. In Russian culture, it is called compromising material called compromat. We know what that word is. It's damaging information about a politician or a business person that can be used to create negative publicity, even blackmail, to exert influence, not monetary gain. Influence, like extortion. Maybe required, all this stuff. Compromat is also used in English. In the United States, they do it with political opponents so that material may be released to weaken those political opponents. A little bit more than opposition research in that this information is used to exert influence over people rather than to win elections. Do you see what the difference there is, right? You have blackmail, which may be to get some money. You give me $1 million or I'm going to put this out there. That's money. You also have opposition research that might have a legitimate justification for it. That's to win an election. Hey, I'm running, my opponent's a moron, here's why. But it's sort of limited there, right? This is what they said when they were a counselor or a senator or whatever. Compromat's a little bit different. Don't really care about the money. Don't really care about winning the election. We want influence. We want to be able to control how this whole administration works. Hunter Biden, crackhead extraordinaire, was spending $10,000 a night bouncing around different hotels with a bunch of Russians. Now, don't you think that might be important news? If the president's son has an entire laptop of compromat out there, you'd think that maybe the New York Times, Washington Post, CNN might cover it. But they didn't. If you go to groundnews.com or whatever, ground.news, I think might be the website. Well, you see this. Coverage analysis says that a lot of people on the right side of the aisle are talking about it. Over here, you've got Breitbart, Louder with Crowder. You got Not the Bee, Zero Hedge. We got Red State, Daily Wire, Daily Express, New York Post leans right. Somebody over here. And then over here, we have the Political Flare. And I read that article and I don't even know what it was. So I think it was just sort of a blog spam. So nobody on the left is talking about this. Total news sources 30, leaning left 1, leaning right 22. Everything else is a blind spot. Only 4% left bias. This news story is a blind spot for people on the left. Share it to spread the word. Because nobody's talking about the president's son being a dirtbag and apparently opening up this administration to a serious problem involving compromat. All right, so let's go through. We've got some video here. Most of it's very, very much blacked out. You might want to get your vomit bucket ready if you had one. Fair warning on this. We're going to take a look at this first. Here is the full transcript of what was happening. You can see here is Hunter Biden shirtless. All right, so this is going to all be PG. No warnings here. We're not going to look at any nudity. Everything is blacked out and censored, so we should be okay here on YouTube. Let's see what's going on here. This is the full transcript. Hunter says to a prostitute about his laptop, says, you know, I just thought of something. When I was in California before I met you, I was with these guys. The one guy was not like you anyway. Primarily my source, okay? I spent effing crazy amounts of money. I went to Las Vegas. He said it would be one day. I made him a promise me it would be one day. He says I hate Las Vegas. So literally after 18 days going around from penthouse suite to penthouse suite, 4 different hotels, thousands of dollars, I didn't even know he had my credit card. He said we got half off. I was like, great. Then I found out it was $10,000 a night. I'm like, what? And each night he'd be like, there's going to be so many people here, crazy effing party. And each night it's nobody. Here's a little bit of a sound clip from the video.
So anyway, and they kicked everybody out. Okay?
Yeah.
And they had cleaned up the entire place of everything, okay? And they were getting ready to leave. And I woke up. And it was this Russian 35-year-old woman. She was a really nice, big hairnet. And she'd been, I don't know how long, but she refused to leave me until she refused to leave me and they wouldn't call an ambulance. And they didn't know whether I was dead or not at first.
All right, so hard to hear. So let's go back to the transcript. He says, hold on, I'm peeing. And so that's when I went into the pool, into the tub, into the hot tub above Palm Springs. It hangs over the side more than I usually do, way more than that. When I went out to the hot tub by myself, it hangs over the edge of the effing top floor with glass. It's ridiculous. And so I'm sitting there, and that's the last I remember. I don't ever pass out, ever. I wake up. The only people that are there are Miguel, the guy frantically running around gathering things up. Okay, Miguel and Pierce and this guy and his friend. So anyway, they had kicked everybody out. They had cleaned up the entire place, everything, okay? And they were getting ready to leave. I woke up and there was this Russian 35-year-old, really nice, pure brunette. I don't know how long. She refused to leave until she refused to leave and they wouldn't call an ambulance. And they didn't know whether I was dead or not at first. So the hooker says, they couldn't just come over and check. And she says, and Hunter says, they checked to see if I was breathing. When I finally showed signs of breath, at first I wasn't breathing. I was in an effing pool face down. They didn't know how long. She told me that they were like, we thought we'd get everybody out because we didn't know because we didn't want, if we had to call, we didn't want everybody to, and she went, no. They demanded that 2 months before. Hooker says, continue with the story, please. She's on a clock, she's got to hurry up. Hunter, anyway, my computer, I had taken tons of just left that cam on, and he would always put in a passcode and all that. You know what I mean? It was effing crazy S, and somebody stole it during that period of time. He did all this kind of pretend search and stuff. The last thing he sent me was $2,000 worth of stuff in an Uber, and he sent me an inaudible with the Uber, and I had to send the money to a Cash App or something, just waiting. Hooker says, in Las Vegas? Hunter says, I think that the one that stole my computer, I think the three of them, the three guys that were like a little group, the dealer and his two guys, I took them everywhere, effing everywhere. Crazy, out of your mind S. The Russins, she'd walk out with an effing bathing suit in her hand. They have videos of me doing this. They have videos of me doing crazy effing sex effing, Hooker says, how long ago did this happen? Probably wondering if he's been tested since. He says summer. Hooker says, so it would have been out already if they, and he says, no, because my dad is running for president. He is. He is. I talk about it all the time. If they do, he also knows I make like $1 gazillion. Hooker says, so they'd try to blackmail you? He says, yeah, in some way. Here it is.
What does the computers have to do with?
They have videos of me doing this. They have videos of me doing fucking crazy sex,
How long ago did this happen? You said before you met.
Sooner, yeah.
So it would have been out already if they.
No. I think
They're not that smart.
Oh, yeah, they are. He is. He knows. I've talked about it all the time. Say they do. Say they could often all the time would be the way. And then have some fruit. Now, if they do, he also knows I make like $1 gazillion.
So you're trying to blackmail you.
No, I make like $1 bazillion.
No, but the guy who took the computer, so what
He'd say,
you want the computer back?
no, like, I'll take all kinds of stuff if you fucking, give me a percentage of what you get for that stuff. Yeah, in some way, yeah. But no, see, the thing is, he doesn't have to, because he sells them. He sells them anonymously to TMZ. TMZ sells them.
All right, so, yikes. So, yeah, that's troubling, right? President's son, entire laptops, bunch of crazy sex activities on there. Any one of those, if it ever broke through the mainstream media, if they ever actually talked about any of this, which they never will, because all they do is just communicate the messages from our ruling class. They're sort of the spokespeople for them. So now that, since they are all such Biden sycophants, we are never going to hear about this. And the media, of course, to their credit, they are asking Jen Psaki about the important issues, like about whether Joe Biden's going to go visit Hunter Biden's fungus exhibit. Here it is.
Also, the gallerist managing, who has been tasked with ensuring the buyers of Hunter Biden's artwork remain anonymous. He said that Hunter will be attending his opening as well next month, and has said friends and families will be attending as well. Does the president or first lady plan on attending that opening?
I'm not aware of plans for them to attend. Go ahead, Rachel.
There you go. We got no plans. Oh, hey, Jen, we got some very important things to talk about. Hunter Biden's going to be selling his $500,000 money laundering artwork. Is Joe Biden going to go over there and see it? There's no plans for that. Next question, please, right? Don't ask me about that stuff. That's from Jen Psaki. So that's the president's son in the White House. Smartest man our president knows. Doing good work out there. Let's take a look at some questions over from watchingthewatchers.locals.com on this one. Reminder, if you had a question that you sent earlier, please send it again. We have Sergeant Bob says, where? He's been in Sleepy Joe's basement. Another snowflake that cannot bear to leave home. Yeah, he's been grifting off his dad for his whole life. So why stop now? We have Kathy, Radase Kathy. It's easier to pronounce. I'll try to remember that. It says, Daddy needs to take all the laptops and recording devices from Hunter. Yeah, he's grounded. He should have been grounded a long time ago. Very bad. Not, no allowance for him anymore. No trading on Daddy's name anymore. Son, you're grounded. But Joe Biden apparently doesn't know where he is most of the time, or know that Joe Biden or Hunter Biden's doing any of that stuff. Wild. Malice says, you either corrupt or evil, not both. Is that from Michael Malice? in the house? Is he on the show? Get out of here. Can't be Michael Malice. That'd be a nice thing. Says, want to know, says, did you see the Russians' video of the prostitute peeing on Donald Trump? No, I never did see that. Is there a video of that? If there is, that would be good to know about. But I heard it was in a dossier called the Steele dossier, and it never came to light, did it? The P tape, the mysterious P tape, where'd that ever go? Hunter Biden is here, says, Rob, why do we focus on all the negativity? I do watch your show. Keep up the good work. Hunter Biden's here. Well, Hunter, it's because you are a terrible person. We have to talk about it. Jeremy M says, when people see this topic, they think scandal. When I see this topic, I see an opportunity for a lesson in the absolute necessity of securing your devices. Laptops can easily be set up with encryption and secured with a $35 USB UTF to FIDO key that can help you ditch your passwords. Learn the right lesson with this story. Yes, Jeremy is absolutely right. Secure your sex tapes, especially if you are a vice president's son. Hello, obviously. He didn't get the memo. I think he was on all sorts of like porn sites also in general. Like he actually created like social media profiles on these porn sites, like, hey, uploading his stuff and commenting on the photos. I like that and I don't like that. He needs a therapist is what he needs. Probably a team, maybe an entire wing of a university to figure out what's going on with him. Sharon Quidney says, oh, please. Did you have to show us that totally gross out picture of the smartest man known to our dear and most august leader? I could have lived happily a long time without ever seeing that moron shirtless. Sharon, look, sometimes I do my very best to make sure that those things don't make it onto this channel. But I saw it. And that means you have to see it, Sharon. Sorry. Love you. But if I had to see it, you got to see it too. Now, to be fair, I am pretty, reasonable about this. Yesterday, Sergeant Bob also had some concerns that we might have seen a cackling Kamala on the screen. And of course, I didn't do that. Okay, so I'm not always such a monster like I am today showing you Hunter, but I gave you fair warning. I said, get your vomit buckets ready. I got mine here. So we're all adults here. Hunter Biden, yes, he is disgusting, but he's in the White House and many people put him there. And the media was complicit in the cover up. All right. Good to see you, Sharon. Be Brave says, does Hunter think the hooked gives a crap about his BS? How did he know they thought he might be dead? That's a good question. I'm sure she doesn't care at all. He probably is just a very insecure person that needs to talk to somebody, and this is how he gets through. He's probably a very broken man, candidly. He's Joe Biden's son. He's been living in the disgusting hellhole of D.C. his entire life. So, I have a little bit of empathy for him. I really don't have much, though, because he constantly uses this I'm an addict excuse, which is not an excuse to be a terrible person. You can be an addict and a good person and just have a problem with an addiction. Just because you're an addict doesn't automatically make you a terrible person. And it's offensive when people try to conflate the two because they're not the same. And Hunter Biden here has been exploiting his father's names on the back of the American people our entire lives. Do you think that he's really worth $80,000 a month on the board of Burisma? Did you see him? Did you see how he talked and how he communicated? He is a crackhead. He has no business being in anywhere near the White House. And quite frankly, neither does Joe Biden. But the media didn't talk about any of this. Had they talked about this, do you think any of the independent, middle of the road, truly independent voters out there that might have a problem with this, do you think that they would have just lined up to get behind Joe Biden? You take a look at Donald Trump's family, got some criticisms there, but they all are kind of unified, right? There's no sex tapes for Don Jr. that we know of. There's nothing like that going on that's been floating around. The worst thing that we saw out of there with Don Jr. was a conversation with a Russian ambassador in Trump Tower, during the election. Turns out that whole thing was a bunch of nonsense anyways. So major double standards, but we already know this. We live in a fake media environment where they just propagandize for their political parties. We got Sergeant Bob says, Prince Andrew is topping this guy. Not that PA was okay. So Prince Andrew is topping this guy. Not that Pennsylvania was okay. I don't know what that means, Sergeant Bob. I apologize. Josh Sesko says he probably spent more time talking to the hooker than he did getting his money's worth. Oh no. I see what you're saying there. That's a short joke, isn't it? It's a short joke. Thunder7 says, I find it very interesting that all the smut and possible criminal activities by Hunter and Joe are being slowly leaked. Methinks the Trump loyalists in the government are doing this because there's no way the Biden regime would leak it. The public are getting more and more angry and will soon demand the DOJ arrest him and the entire crime family. It's going to be too egregious to be ignored. Yeah, if you were the Russians, if you were an opposing party that did have compromise, right, you would continue to drip it very slowly in little dopamine hits for the general population. You'd wait until there was a little bit of momentum, right? And then you just wait for the floodgates to open. Wait till the media captures it. And then you go to Joe Biden and you say, listen, this is where we're at right now. This is what I need you to do in the Ukraine or in Crimea, or I need you to do this with China. I need you to engage with this with Afghanistan. Otherwise, we're going to unleash this dossier of your disgusting son engaged with all sorts of disgusting activities, maybe involving some very serious criminalities. Or else you do this or this. Pick one. That's a problem. Joe Biden, we see him in those pictures hugging and loving his son. That's great. He loves his son. But would he be willing to do that? Would anybody in his administration be willing to scoot something through in order to save face? You better believe it. Ghost Gunner says, Rob, you're just being paranoid. It was Trump who was Putin's puppet, remember? I forgot. I know. Thank you for the reminder, Ghost. I also remember when Facebook and Twitter scrubbed Biden laptop story as fake news. Yeah, they banned the New York Post. They banned the entire the organization that broke the story, banned them during the election. These people are crooks. Doesn't the FBI have Hunter's other laptop? I heard there was some pretty compromising stuff on there, where even Hannity's lawyers say they shouldn't be getting access to it. Yeah, I heard a lot about that. I'm sure it's out there. I'm sure somebody's going to continue to drip it. I'm sure it's going to continue to be a problem for the Biden administration. We have Hunter Biden is an idiot here, says, gosh, Hunter is such an idiot that he would learn his lesson on cybersecurity, use end-to-end encryption, encrypt the hard drive, don't talk to hookers, don't snort Parmesan cheese. The Hunter situation is a funny train wreck. Yeah, it is a train wreck. Most of the administration is. We have Jill Biden says, did you see the tape of the Russian hookers peeing on Hunter? No, but it's probably on the laptop. That I believe is there. That one I actually believe is there. We have Sergeant Bob says, thanks for a great week. I love the big, beautiful spotlight. Thank you, Sergeant Bob. I appreciate you being here, being a part of the show, asking great questions, dropping good comments. Chairman of Board says, much of the controversy was about the original laptop and whether the info on it would compromise the president. Hunter just literally said he feared blackmail. Since this was some time ago, how do we know that the blackmail didn't already happen? You're right, we don't. Nobody's asking any questions or investigating it. P.S. My favorite part is the Russian hooker. Please continue with the story. She's all business. She was probably recording it all. Yeah, right. Very matter of fact. Very interesting. Please continue. What else happened? Okay. And anything else? Perfect. All right. So here's some more cocaine. Snort the hell out of that and blackout over there, because now I know that I'm just going to take that laptop as soon as you're blacked out there in the bed. All right. Bye. Good to see you, Chairman. I think you're absolutely onto something. She was over it. You can't blame her. V. Enticus Prime says, if I had a dad like Joe Biden, I would probably need a therapist too. The guy seems like one of those dads where if you're not doing everything perfect, that he would tell you what an embarrassment you were behind closed doors. Yes. So like in those movies, right, where you have a beautiful family and everything's happy and go lucky, and then the guests leave after the dinner party and the husband's like, "Whoa!" and the whole thing turns sour. Maybe Joe Biden's like that. I don't know. I think he's too demented now for any real vigor like that, but whatever. We have a Drearier Spider says, say it with me. Beijing Biter is a traitor who pimped out his last elected office to the highest bidder, including communist China, using his crackhead son as an intermediary. That's a pretty nice sentence there. Beijing Biden is a traitor, pimped out his last elected office to the highest bidder, including communist China, using his crackhead son as an intermediary. I like it. It's pretty poetic. It has a nice cadence to it. Nice alliteration there. Well done. That was from Drearier Spider. Very poetic. Should start maybe a children's book. We have Hunter's Biden's laptop says, Dear Russians, please wipe my memory already. I can't stand having these images in my RAM any longer. Joe Biden will compensate you for your troubles. MSM as a joke says, in Australia, they did not cover the Hunter Biden story, did not report on the possible COVID super spreader at Obama's party. This really highlights how the mainstream media is trash and the people should not believe it. Yeah, they are trash. They are just the worst. When Trump said that they're the enemy of the people, he's absolutely right. They are. I didn't think that at first. I thought that maybe he was being a little bit hyperbolic with his language, but no, they're trashed. They don't report on anything unless it serves their interest, and so they are not independent at all. We have Three Girlie says, you know how many drug addicts say their things were stolen when they were really used as payment for drugs? A lot. People sell their kids baby formula so they can get drugs. This laptop wasn't stolen. He was on his next binge and needed to keep it up, so he gave his laptop to them. When he was sober, he realized what kind of stupid mistake he made. I don't believe this for one hot second. People are buying his awful straw paintings for the drug content and access to his dad. You're right about that, Three Girlies. And that is a great point, right? You know, it could easily be that or a combination of the two. The point is that they're gone and nobody's asking questions about it. And it might actually implicate American security in some serious way, legitimately. All right. Jill Biden says, it's Dr. Jill Biden, not Jill Biden. Keep that straight. Are you really a doctor, Jill? Are you? I don't know. I think you have the official. Okay. We have I won't question it. Dr. Jill Biden. Well done with your son. Nice job. Jeremy Matrita says, by the way, getting back to the gym this month has already paid off. Good for you, brother. I forgot how good it feels to exercise. If anyone is always feeling down, get out there and get the heart rate up. Great show as always. Thanks again for the encouragement. That's for Jeremy Matrita. Love it, Jeremy. I'm reading a book right now. It's called The Art of Impossible. And, in there, it's a great book. Not done with it yet, but in there he talks about exercise being non-negotiable, mandatory, something that I've sort of practiced my whole life, even when I was a little bit heavier than usual. But I always thought that it was very critical for my performance. Anytime I stop exercising, everything gets worse. Everything. My sleep gets worse. My appetite gets worse. My attitude gets worse. Everything. And so even if you can only hit it for 30 minutes a day, just get the blood moving a little bit, that's enough to really elevate everything else that you do. And the book, The Art of Impossible, talks about it. And it gives you a very good medical reason for that. What it does to your endorphins and everything like that. Get it in there. Otherwise, everything else you're doing is sort of going to be muted a little bit. So congratulations, Jeremy. I think you have a trip coming up. I'm excited for that. You're going to be looking in tip-top shape for that, baby. It's going to be beautiful. Thanks for sharing that with us today. We have over here, Hunter Biden says, hey, chairman of the board doesn't know what he's talking about. That hooker asked me to continue my story because it was interesting and she really cares about me. You're right, Hunter. She does care about you. They all care about you. You're very special. Yes. We have over here, Vienticus Prime says, remember, popular media and news sources aren't popular because you like them. They're popular because someone else likes them. Might be good to figure out who that someone else is. Ooh, yeah. That's a very good point. Who might that be? Who might be sending the memo to everybody about what to cover and what not to cover? Right? How does that happen? We saw on ground news, none of the mainstream media is even talking about it. How? Because there's collusion, to use their word. We have over here, Vienticus, that was from Vienticus Prime. John Halgren says, this is a national security threat. Mainstream media ignoring this is sincerely frightening. It is, but they're doing it because it serves their ends. They don't care about the country. They don't care about you. They don't care about your life and well-being. They care about power, political power, keeping it and maintaining it. So they're going to continue to report on what serves them. All right, we have some super chats coming in. Let's see over here. We have Alex Bogey, he is here, says, whatever happened to all of Hunter's tax evasion charges in Delaware and New York? Are the AGs just scared to go to court because of the Biden senior? Probably. I mean, they're not prosecuting even Cuomo for anything. So the last I heard was it was just an investigation. So there was no formal charges or documents or anything like that was underway. They announced that they were doing an inquiry. The Biden people, through Hunter Biden, came out, were cooperating with them, and that was the last I heard. But you're right, that was something that was floating around. I think it's probably not going to go anywhere. Right? It's the president's son. It is an entirely corrupt Department of Justice. They are doing everything they can. Joe Biden says, I need to be able to mandate vaccines. And they say, well, they're experimental. I don't care. I need it anyways. Don Johnson from OLC, the Office of Legal Counsel, says, you got it. What do you need, Joe? Got that. Perfect. signs that order, drafts it all up, goes, finds a bunch of obscure legal precedent. Here it is. You can vaccine whatever you want, Joe. Mandate away. Have fun. Go hog wild. Joe Biden says, that's great. Excellent job. I also need Donald Trump's taxes. No problem. I can do that too. I'm Don Johnson, OLC. Goes over there, blah, 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 crams up something, sends it over to the White House. Perfect. Now we can get Donald Trump's taxes as well. So they can just kind of get whatever they want. And in this case, they don't want Hunter Biden to be charged with a crime. So DOJ, OLC, AG, all of them are all just going to, no, we investigated it, couldn't find anything. And thanks for asking. Jen Psaki will go back out there and say, we've answered this, Ducey. Thanks. And that's all we'll get out of it. That's your White House. We have here, Eddie Oliver says the difference is the Trumps were rich before politics. The Bidens were rich after. And makes a difference when you're talking basic corruption. Yeah. How do these Congress people making $170,000 or whatever it is suddenly end up with $200 million in their bank account? How does that work? Very, very curious, isn't it? Great questions. Let's see any more over here. No, we're all queued up, my friends. I think that's it for the questions. And I really do appreciate all of that. Amazing questions from watchingthewatchers.locals.com. I want to welcome some new members who just signed up this week. Big shout outs to Jutah MKit. We have Jutah MKit 2 signed up. Welcome to you. We got Daversek signed up for the year. Shifty Shift joined up. 503 Unlimited. I think that's Portland. Mary B 585 signed up. The Real Patriot. Laura SB. D Rodrigue 188 and Wendy Deer. And also a big shout out to Terrence K for that lovely letter that you sent, as well as welcome to all of the people who joined last week. If you want to be a part of the community, you can do so by going over to watchingthewatchers.locals.com. Sign up. You can join us on our next monthly locals meetup via Zoom, Saturday, August 28th, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern time. It's a lot of fun. We get to know each other. We're building a community, and of course, we want you to be there. So if you want to join in, it's watchingthewatchers.locals.com. And I'm seeing one more super chat coming in here from Eddie Oliver. Says, Hunter Biden should have a reality show or a sitcom based on his life. We can call it Oh Hunter, with an exclamation point. That's going to come up on the screen here in a minute. Read with emotion. So you can call, Oh Hunter, womp, 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 womp. It's kind of one of those really, boneheaded things. Oh, it's Hunter Biden again. Oh, Hunter, womp, womp, womp. And so that's from Eddie Oliver. Great suggestion. Probably get as much views as Brian Stelter does on a nightly basis. So probably like 10, 12 people would watch that. But I like the idea anyways. We could have fun with that. So great questions. Once again, big shout outs to all the support on locals and on YouTube. Super chats came in from Eddie Oliver, Alex Bogey, Kareem, Linda, several from Eddie. Thank you, Eddie, for all of that today. Josh came in, Maureen, Kareem, Phil, another Kareem also, several of those, Austin, Ryu. Really do appreciate all of that. Very generous. As you know, YouTube demonetizes our live streams almost immediately after we're done with them, and then they don't remonetize them until the next day when most of the views have already gone because we're getting ready for the next show. And so the super chats and things like that, the support on locals, it really does mean the world to me. Thank you very much for that. So that is it, my friends. That's all we've got for today. We had a busy week. We covered a lot of ground, but you know what? There's going to be a lot more to do next week, because the chaos, the madness, the tumult, the tragedies around the world will carry on, and we've got to talk about them. We've got to make sure that we keep our bearings straight, that we stay grounded, that we stay focused on the big picture, that we don't let all of the negativity and all of the doom and gloom of the world infect us, come into our lives, and throw us off base, because it's very easy to let that toxicity drag you down. And we don't want that to happen. We want to come back, make sure that we're aligned with our values, our principles, make sure that we're talking here about accountability, transparency, and justice, and make sure that we're grounded and ready to rock and roll, because there's more work to do, and we're going to get back to it next week. I hope you can join us for it. 4 p.m. Arizona time, 5 p.m. Mountain, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. on the East Coast, and for that one Florida man, everybody else, have a tremendous, tremendous weekend. Unplug from politics, spend time with family, sleep very well, eat some good food. I will see you all back here on Monday. Have a great weekend, my friends, and bye-bye. Thanks so much for watching. Before you head out, I want to just remind you that I am a criminal defense lawyer here in Scottsdale, Arizona, where my team and I, we've got a long history of helping good people facing criminal charges to find safety, clarity, and hope in their cases and beyond that in their lives. Our phone number for a free case evaluation is 480-787-0394. You can also find us online at www.rrlawaz.com. We can help with any type of criminal charge in the state of Arizona, things like DUI, drug offenses, misdemeanor offenses. And we can also help with clearing up old case records, like expunging cases or making sure that you can restore your rights so that you can vote again or possess a firearm again or apply for some other federal benefits. We can remove mugshots off the internet. Basically, anytime that you or somebody you know or love is in trouble with the law in the state of Arizona, we have an amazing team of people. We would just love the opportunity to help. And our phone number, of course, 480-787-0394. And if you don't need any legal services, that's a very good thing. But you may be interested in some informational offerings so that you are prepared if you do have to deal with the police. And of course, I want to invite you to head on over to gumroad.com/Robert Gruler. You'll notice here, I've got several different trainings that are available, including the law enforcement interaction training. This is the 1, 2, 3 rule for dealing with the police. It's one rule you need, 2 questions that the police can ask of you, and 3 responses if they ask you a problematic question. So that's available now. You can also get a load at my personal productivity system here called Existence Systems. Fun little course. And then we have here, if you're a lawyer or a legal professional, be sure to check out this program. We are meeting twice every month. Again, all of this over at gumroad.com/Robert Gruler. And if none of that sounds any good to you, well, just go ahead and give us a follow, because I'm working on some other products and some other offerings. And of course, if you have not already done so, want to invite you one more time to head on over to watchingthewatchers.locals.com. It's where you can support the show, and it's where we can connect. We've got monthly Zoom meetings and a lot of other goodies coming up. So I look forward to seeing you there. Thank you so much for watching, and for all of your love and support. I will see you on the next one.